What a great day to honor Larry Jones. It's beautiful outside. Baseball season's here. His Mets are opening up at Citi Field.
They're in first place.
They're in first place.
Yeah, hello.
They're right. They're not mathematically eliminated, at least for a few weeks. So all is good in the Mets world and in Larry's world. Hats off to the Greenwich Old Timers for again getting it right. This is the third annual Lifetime Coaches Achievement Award. We started off, I just called him the Babe Ruth of this award, John Kavanaugh, Harry Catanzaro, and like those two, Larry Jones is top shelf. You can't ask for anybody more selfless. It's an honor to be up here to introduce him. He's a family friend. I think back to the Jackie Robinson quote about a life not being important except for in the impact it has on other lives. And here's a guy who's not only impacted the lives of hundreds of kids that he coached, but thousands of kids in that time span of 40 years. That's a long time. It really is. The Babe Ruth, 2 years ago, the Greenwich Junior Babe Ruth League, we celebrated our 50th year here in Greenwich, and almost 80% of that time, Larry's been a part of that league. So think of all the lives that he has touched. I think back of, again, I've known Larry before his career started, but I remember a day back in 1972. I was 10 years old and we were playing at Binney Park. And we were playing a team called Havemeyer Park. And I think some of you guys in here maybe remember them. They had those orange shirts with the blue lettering. And I just remember, again, I knew him, but he came up to me before the game, was fooling around and, put his arm around me. And at the end of the game, he came up and he said, "Camillo, good game, Camillo." And I can't tell you if we won the game. I can't even tell you if we got any hits that game. But I do remember Larry coming up and telling me that. And I'm sure a lot of people have those stories. About 14 years later, I was coaching in the league against Larry, and it was the same thing, and there are plenty of stories, but my favorite one that I've been telling recently was in the mid-80s, 86, 87, I'm coaching the Greenwich All-Star team. We're playing Stanford at Cavetta Stadium, and we had the early games. Anybody that goes from Stanford to Greenwich at that time knows it could take a couple hours. So Larry is at work, he gets dressed in his uniform, and there's no Larry, and he's getting towards game time, and he shows up and he tells me the story that he was stuck on I-95 in the parking lot, and decides, I'm just going to take the shoulder. And of course there was a policeman there. Now anybody else gets a ticket there, anybody, not Larry. He told him he had a game to go to, and he was late. He was coming from work, and he said, "Yeah, the guy let me go." I said, "You're kidding me." He says, "Yeah, he just let me go." I thought to myself, if that was me, I would have got 2 tickets. One for doing it, and one for trying to get out of it. But that's Larry. That's Larry. I also know from a different perspective Larry's career on the baseball career from that of an umpire. And I think it's safe to say for the hundreds of guys that I've worked with umpiring for the last 25 years, or actually more now, they started when I was 5. But the one guy that umpires didn't mind umpiring for was Larry Jones. And it wasn't because he didn't argue. It wasn't because he didn't try and show you up. He never did that. It was because he came to the field and he made you happy. He was smiling. He was smiling, you were smiling. He was happy, you were happy. He was happy because he was on a baseball field. That's all it was to it. It was as simple as that. He was happy because he was on a baseball field. It reminds me of, again, another quote from the same Jackie Robinson era. This one was from the late, great baseball pioneer, Branch Rickey. And Mr. Rickey said it once said, "It's not the honor you take with you, but it's the legacy you leave behind." And if you quit today, which we know you're not, in fact, I hope we're sitting here in 20 years arguing whether we honor you again, but your legacy in Greenwich is cemented. It's etched in stone. It's a wonderful thing to be able to touch that many people over all those many years. And I know I speak for for every person who's ever gone through the Babe Ruth League since the early 70s, and for grateful town of Greenwich. Thank you for a job well done, continued success, and God bless you.
Larry Jones, on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Greenwich Old-Timers Athletic Association, I'd like to present you with your trophy, recognizing you with the annual Coaches Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations.
I just want to thank all the people that came today to this award. It means the greatest thing I've ever happened to me in my life. I just want to say thank you to everybody that I see out there, the faces. I just want to say one thing for the table over there on number 6 over there, number 6 table. Those guys are great. I deal with them every day, but they're the best. I want to thank everybody for showing up. I just want to thank a few people that influenced my life. One young man sitting here in the front row I grew up with, his name was Mr. Kevin Rickett. Would you please stand up? We grew up together, and we had a great coach, Mr. Ralph Arnault and Mr. Harry Van Dyke. I tried to model myself after those two guys because when I was coming up, I wasn't that great of a baseball player, but they never, ever said a discouraging word to me. And I always said if I ever coach, those are the kind of coaches that I would like to represent. And for all the kids that was out there, I love them all. And I don't, not only on my team, but on every other team. They're all my kids. They're not just kids for garden catering. They're not just kids for Herman Survivor. They all belong to me. And if any way I could show any kind of influence to them and some kind of positive influence, that's what I try to show to them. Show them that everything out there, life may not be this same today, but you are going to wake up tomorrow, the sun's going to come up, and everything's going to be all right. You make an error, hey, shake it off, get back up, hey, life is in. But the best thing is, after every game, we go to Wendy's and say, hey, we had a great time. Thank you very much.